England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of our field gold. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
Liverpool 4, Everton 1 was the scoreline this morning. What an absolute result. There was a little bit of nerves coming into this game, but the way the game started, it's basically the way it finished. I am Nick, your host for this one here, joined by Peter the coach to my left, or your left I should say, and down below, Stephen Wilding. Good evening, gentlemen. Pete, how are you?
Yeah, I mean, when you beat Everton, we're always good, aren't we? So I'm excellent. I am excellent. I'm a bit warm actually, but you know, we spoke about this off air. In this room is a sauna in here, but it's good to have Cheryl here. To be honest with you, I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, Steve.
Steve, Jerry Halliwell.
Corrected my name back in time this time.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, it was Derby Day in Merseyside this morning for us, last night for those overseas in England, and look, the way the game started, as I said, was the way it absolutely panned out to be. Just quickly, first of all, our overall thoughts. Overall, not the clothing overalls. Overall as in recount, in reminiscence, if that's even a word. Look, I'm not going to lie. For me, the first half, I thought 2-0. We're going to go 4-5-0 at half time, but they managed to peg one back. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit nervous at the end of that first half. But then the second half, once we got that third, I thought that was pretty much it. And then Jota got himself a nice finish as well. And it was pretty much smooth sailing. A few yellow cards. Everton taking the role of divers, going back to FIFA 99 when you could actually dive in FIFA games and get players sent off. That reminds me of good times when I was a wee 11-year-old. But Peter, your overall thoughts on the game this morning?
Heading into the match, I'm always nervous. Like, it's simple as that. Like, it's a derby. It's a game that you don't know. Obviously, with Rafa as well, you know, anything could have happened, kind of thing. But the way we had started, geez, I thought, wow, this is unbelievable. Like, look, we're electric, we're angry, we're hungry, we're calm. We can be all these things into one, and it's just like, how can we start so well? And at 2-0, I was watching the game at work. And my mate goes, "Oh, this could be 5." And I said to him, "I go, all we need is the third." And then, you know, hopefully, you know, that's when I relax. He goes, "What do you mean? Look how easy it is." I said, "Yeah, but you don't know Liverpool." I go, we just need the third, and that way we can relax. And because if they get one, anything can happen. And we obviously, when they scored their goal, I just looked at him and I said, "Fuck you." So I thought, you know, here we go. But yeah, second half started and more of the same, really. I mean, like you said, it got ugly. But we managed, that ugly spell. But then we were just unbelievable the whole game.
Stephen, what did you think when Everton pegged one? Actually, no, I want to ask you first. What did you think when you saw Salah go one-on-one with mini hands Pickford and put one into his far post corner there? Did you think that was it, game over, or were you expecting, like Pete said, you don't know Liverpool, were you expecting us to stutter a little bit?
I expected us just to keep going. I didn't see anything in Everton in that game at all. And at 2-0, what was it, 15 minutes in or something like that, 2-0 up, I thought we're going to go on. We can easily get 4 or 5 it. And then we obviously know what happened. So I was sat confident. And then they got their goal. Inevitably, it gets the crowd up. It's always going to happen. The Goodison crowd can be a bit hostile, and they got behind them for a bit. And I'll be honest, I was nervous right until Salah scored that third goal. There was one moment where they had a free kick where it was at 2-1 and Andros Townsend was lining it up, and I was just sat there thinking, fuck.
Yeah,
I can see him putting this top corner. But then he hit the wall, didn't he? And I was like, here we go. And then within about 30 seconds, Salah's down the other end goal.
Oh yeah, it was. It was directly from that corner kick after the clearance, whether it was off Virgil's head or whoever's. Yeah, it was a classic Liverpool counter. We've scored a few goals, actually, come to think of it, from corner kicks from the opposition, mind you. 1-2 touch, out it goes. And look, okay, it's Everton, but I sort of feel bad for Seamus Coleman a little bit. The guy's been there for feels like forever, and it's like one of those players he's like a noble for West Ham. He just feels like he's always been there, so you sort of like feel like a little bit of sentiment towards him. I'm like, that's a pretty bad way to give away a third goal. But Salah again on the break.
him.
Going himself. Okay, Pete, I get it, but like I'm saying, still, like it was nice to get that third goal, and Salah just barraging through. And at one point, I thought he scuffed his shot and he was going to miss, but the way he hit it, the angle just managed to just go creep into that far post again, and that was game over. And that was basically done and dusted there. And then Jota decides to do some little, between the legs magic and put one in the near corner, top bins as well. So we've got some players on goal scoring form. The one player who maybe didn't really stand out as much was Mane, who's normally a pivotal figure in derbies, especially away at Goodison. Who can forget that 96-minute winner a few seasons ago? But all in all, I think it was just a good, solid performance. Midfield looked good. The defense, some would say still that Trent position leaves us vulnerable a little bit when he's attacking forward. Some would say he was maybe a bit responsible for their goal because he wasn't really covering that space well. I don't know, Pete, if you want to speak on that, if you saw something there, or was it just a good pass from Richarlison that had Damari Gray?
I've read in our group chat, and this is where I get the shits because it's almost like people are waiting for a goal to come in from near that side so they can say, see, I told you Trent doesn't defend. But it's for me, I would have actually, there's two incidents before that moment that I said, I look at them first. One, I think Virgil could have actually got closer to Richarlison and didn't allow the turn. I think he could have stayed with him and stuck with him the whole way through and just been up his ass. Two, I think Matip should have known exactly where, that player is because he's he's the attacker. So I think it's got to go. I think those two have to be held responsible first before you even look at Trent's positioning because that should have been dealt with anyway. Do you know what I mean? That should have been dealt with. That for me, it was. I can't even think of Trent before the goal. There's no way.
So it's just a case of circumstance. It happened to be Trent in that position with Matip next to him.
Should never got that far in the first place.
Yeah, Richarlison could have been stopped a little bit earlier, but you can't take away from the pass. It was a great pass, but nonetheless, the result speaks for itself. 4-1, we conceded a goal. Just quickly, a big hello to all the viewers today or tonight. Tiago's father. We've got Lucky and Ray PMB9. Thank you for joining us. Share the link if you'd be so kind. Drop a like on the stream as well. Get us up there for the algorithms and all that YouTube good stuff. But Mr. Stephen Wilding, I want to, because Jimmy's not here, you're the closest thing we've got to a Scotsman. No offense.
Poor thing.
Robbo returning to old form. He had a fantastic game, I have to say. Got himself a couple of assists, and he looked like he was up for it, chasing balls, even though we were 4-1 up, hustling the defenders. What did you make of his performance? Best thus for a long time, I have to say.
I think he's been good the last couple of games. So he came back in for the weekend when we beat Southampton, didn't we? So we beat them. I thought Robbo was good in that game, but he stepped up again another level this morning. We've obviously said quite a lot about Tsimikas should be playing based on form. And I think maybe now are we seeing the effect of Tsimikas coming in and getting some game time? Has it given Robbo that kick up the arse that he needs to raise his game, as much as Klopp will take every opportunity to make it quite clear that Robbo is his number one choice? Just dangle that carrot and Klopp will sort of just smash it away. Just no matter how good Tsimikas is, he makes it perfectly clear Robbo is the one. But I think we're seeing sort of the fruits of having that second left back who's going to compete for that position, because over the years, Robbo's had no one to compete in that position. He's had Milner can fill in, but he's not challenging for that position. So Tsimikas coming in this season, having them great performances, maybe Robbo is now looking over his shoulder thinking, I need to perform, because at the beginning of this season, he wasn't. And it's long overdue, and he was very good this morning. I think he's just backed up the performance against Southampton with an even better one this morning, and long may that continue. But, I mean, we're in a great position now. If Robbo can continue that form, we've still got a player in the form of Tsimikas who comes in, and you don't miss Robbo. That's the biggest thing. Sometimes when you take out your main players, then you see that drop-off. I don't think we're going to have that anymore if Robbo doesn't play.
Well, he had a great game. 5 tackles. He took 5 corners. Pete, has his corner game improved? I have to ask you.
Yeah, let's just say yes.
He's beaten the first man for once.
Twice.
That's true.
Twice.
True.
Yeah.
True. He did have a few.
But this was his best game in, for as long as I can remember. Steve's 100% right. I think that was his best game in. Fuck, probably since our Champions League winning or title winning season. Like that's, I think that Robbo today was scary good and scary for the other fucking clubs coming up, because it's like if he's back, just hang the fuck on, because that means we're going to get even better.
I have no arguments there, and if we do need to, like we've said, we have another player in Tsimikas who can fit into a certain system that maybe is better instead of having Robbo bombing up and down. But I think against a team like Everton, naturally a Merseyside derby, it's going to be heated, it's going to be up there. And look, I have to say, the Goodison, I know this is out of sync in our talking points, but I'm going to drop it here. The atmosphere was there. Goodison, no matter what form we're in, we could be leading, they could be last. We go to Goodison and they're just going to absolutely shit all over us, because that's what the Everton fans are like. And I do appreciate that from opposition fans. But after that second goal, fans were leaving the ground. It was the 21st minute. What's the go there with Goodison? Like, I know a lot of people are putting the blame on their chairman, Kenwright, or whatever his name is. Some are saying like the board are to blame. We've spent all this money on all these good players and nothing's working. And is Rafa doing anything and all that noise? Not to take away from our performance, but why would they leave so early knowing it's a Merseyside derby and literally anything can happen in a match? Pete, do you want to speak on this?
Yeah, because the bags of shit. That's why. Like, it's simple as that. Like it was hilarious watching that happen. Like I remember just absolutely pissing myself, because I laughed at United fans for leaving early, which I think they left at the 55th minute or somewhere there.
Yeah.
And that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Hold your horses, because a month later we've got Everton leaving in the 20th minute.
Yeah, that's
at
bad.
Home. Like,
that's so bad.
Okay. Oh my God, that's actually proper embarrassing. It's not even funny anymore. Like, it's actually proper embarrassing. The fact that you're walking out there. If that's a statement you want to make, well, the only statement you made is that you're literally the I was going to say third best club in Liverpool, but it's even lower than that.
Tranmere Rovers are above Everton at the moment, you would say.
That's embarrassing.
Steve, when fans leave, normally it's from a place of, I didn't pay money to watch this sort of a thing here. And it's not to say that Everton have a bad squad. Actually, I think they have a decent squad. And we all thought Rafa Benitez coming into it, he was going to give him some stability like he tried at Newcastle, albeit arguably Everton have much better players than Newcastle. But maybe what he's trying to implement isn't what the Everton fans are looking for. They started off well, and then they've just completely lost their heads. They lost to Watford. They got a draw at United, but then again, United were shit at that point, which maybe they still are. Who the hell knows? And since then, they lost to Brentford last week, and now it's almost like, what are Everton doing with all the? Is it sacking Rafa? Is that going to be an option for Everton? Do you think? Are Liverpool going to be the cause of another manager? Ironically, it being Rafa Benitez.
I don't think they can get rid of him anytime soon. I mean, as much as I don't want to make excuses for Everton, they have been hampered this season with some pretty bad injuries. You look at the beginning of the season; they actually started it really well, and they were playing some nice football. You mentioned the Old Trafford result they got. They got a 1-1 result there, and they did well there. But that Richarlison's only just come back from injury. Decore played his first game back this morning against us, and they're missing Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front as well, and they've had other injuries amongst that. So they have. I think if they get rid of Rafa, it's knee-jerk, but football is very knee-jerk at sometimes. But he's always going to be tarnished as an Everton manager because he's an ex-Liverpool guy. So they're always looking for something to pick at him. But I think they've been unlucky with injuries. Nowhere near what we had last season, but it's going to affect you. But it's still nice to just laugh at him. And Agent Rafa's doing well, taking him where he's going.
Well, speaking of Agent Rafa the Red. I think at one point the Liverpool fans were chanting his name when we were 4-1 up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were doing it in the first half as well.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. There was a moment, I think, when we scored our first, I think when it was Henderson's goal, which, by the way, what a goal. There was about 6 or 7 passes prior to the finish. The finish itself was world class, but the goal itself, the build-up, the nice intricate play that started around at the halfway mark, it was what a goal. But I think it was when that went in, or the second one went in, the camera panned to Rafa, and he's got his notebook out, and you see him writing something. And me and my mates were like, "Oh, what do you reckon he's writing?" I've just gone, "Yes." Because he couldn't celebrate out loud, of course. So he's probably just written down his little book here, like, yes. So
that was quality.
Yeah, tactics. But like
Tactics.
yeah. Look, I feel sorry for Rafa, man. Everyone knows, or whoever knows me knows my soft spot for Rafa because he inspired me to get into coaching, and he's the guy who intrigued me the first ever guy to intrigue me into coaching as to how teams do this or how do you get that player to do that. So no matter what he does from here on in, I've actually always got a soft spot for Rafa.
Do you think, Steve, the Everton fans will be thinking, look, let me rephrase this, not the Everton fans. I guess you could say United, in a way, when we played them, they sort of like held back and we just like ran over them. Everton at least gave it a go and got themselves a goal. So they kept on playing. It's not like they just said, hey, we're 2-0 down, let's just defend and not make any more errors. But is there something in it where Rafa says, you know what, we're playing against Liverpool. He's probably thinking like, this team is far superior to mine, but let's give it at least give it a crack and let's see what we can do. They got themselves the goal, but that was about it. And even then, it was the only shot they had on target in that first half, oddly enough. So yeah, again, I said it last week, we can be a team who can defend well, or we can be a team where the opposition gets one chance, they score a goal, and it could be game over for us if it's a 0-0 in the 80th minute, for example. But do you think that Rafa do you think that Rafa did Liverpool a favour by having Everton keep pushing forward because it opened up space for us, like Salah's goal, or both of them, I should say?
I think the build up to the game and the results they've had, they're on a shocking run at the minute. I think they're taking about 2 points out of about 20 or something ridiculously low. And obviously they lost the last game against Brentford, got booed off by the fans. I think because it was against us, Rafa couldn't set them up to just sit back and try and contain us. I don't think that would have gone down well at all with the fans. So he had to come out and play against us. And yes, we battered them the first sort of 15, 20 minutes. I mean, we had 2 great chances even before Henderson scored. You got the Matip header, which was a free header after about 2 minutes. You then had Salah, who put the one over the bar. He's gone with his strongest foot and he put it straight over. He could have just gone with his right foot or even used his head. Yeah, I don't understand what he's doing there. But so the warning signs were there. And then obviously we go 1-0 up. I don't think you can't change how they're going to play them. They've got to then come at us. And I think with the way the fans are starting to get on his back and get on the team's back, they had to come at us. They're at home. They had to at least show some desire. And they got what they wanted with that goal back in it. And it sort of got the crowd on it. And we looked a little bit nervy for a period. So it finished 4-1, but there was periods there where I thought this could go either way now at 2-1. So I don't think he did the wrong thing. I think what he had to do, at the end of the day, the quality told him we were head and shoulders above them.
100%. I think that speaks volumes for itself. Pete, I want to go to this now. Mo Salah, 2 goals, breakaway goals. We know what Salah can do. Ballon d'Or results came out a couple of days ago. I just want to speak on that for a second. Lionel Messi won it for the 7th time record Ballon d'Or. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Messi. Great footballer, one of the best ever play the game, and he's still got it in him. But compared to what he's achieved last season, moving from Barca to PSG, the only thing really that he's done is won the Copa America. Is that enough to have someone be called the best player in the world because they've won a Copa? Like, I'm sure he's scored a whole ton of goals and assists, but the things that Salah has done, hell, don't worry about Salah, even Lewandowski. I think that the Ballon d'Or has become just a massive like wankfest now over who the most popular player is, to be honest.
Look, for me, the Ballon d'Or is always been like a popularity contest kind of thing, but it's hard to answer this question because I've always said as long as Messi plays, he's the best player to ever put on a pair of boots. So to put him as the best player in the world only makes sense. You know what I mean? But to flip all that kind of stuff, I think the biggest sham of the whole Ballon d'Or was actually Jorginho in third place.
Oh
I
my!
think that
Don't
was
even get me started on Jorginho,
for
please.
me. I think I think that's more of a talking point than Messi winning it. Like I said, I think Messi is the best player ever to put on a pair of boots, and good luck to him because you know what, he's a nice, humble guy. You don't have to. He doesn't wax his eyebrows. He doesn't put shin pad pictures of himself. He's
Who could that be?
He doesn't take his shirt off any chance he gets. It's one of them ones, but again, awesome because there's no Man United or Greek heritage, so the Portuguese can't celebrate too much because it's brilliant. So we don't get Man United fans celebrating anything or whatever. So it's great that Messi won it because Salah was never going to do it.
But Salah being put 7th best player in the world, this is the thing though. A lot of people argue Harry Kane, top goal scorer, most assists, etc., 0 trophies, and then I saw a meme with Benzema. It's like, yeah, he's scored lower goals, lower assists, but apparently he's higher up than Harry Kane. I mean, if we're talking about Benzema being in that top 5, for example, with Mbappe, and I don't think he was 5th or whatever, but still, surely Salah's got to be up there, man. The goals he's scoring, the assists, he's had 19 goals in all comps so far, and he's got about 15 goals in the Premier League or something with assists. Is that correct?
Salah, if he keeps this up, Salah for me, no problem. Next year he's got it anyway. I think it's in the bag. I think he's already first for next season's Ballon d'Or right now. So I think forget the past calendar year. I think Salah's form from this Premier League season actually kind of starts for the next kind of calendar year Ballon d'Or, if that makes sense. So right now, as it stands, he's got it. He's got the Ballon d'Or for next year right now. I think he's first, and I think he's first by a long fucking shot. I think he's going to have to fall off quite quickly to not win it for next year. That's how I like to think about it now. I'd like to think of what happened, because I agree with the comments right now. There's a few, hold on, we'll get them up. We've got Scrap This Phony, great. This one here as well, that's, again, true, 100%. We've got a few here, right? We've got 19 and 19. Yep, great. And then this one is... You know what I mean? So
please
and it's kind of funny because it's true, but I think right now, again, I think for me, it's Salah's first for next year already, and I think you have to do a fucking lot to beat him.
Steve, we saw the goal he scored against City. Unbelievable goal. I don't even think... Nah, I shouldn't say. I was going to say, I don't even think Messi can do that, but Messi can take on a whole team from halfway.
Let's just slow down there.
I was going to say, you know what? I'll take that back. Messi probably can do that, but I don't think I've seen him do that, what Salah's done. Put 2 defenders on their asses and put it past one of the top goalkeepers in the world. And then he's done it again the week after against Watford. Okay, lower opposition, but almost a carbon copy. We've seen his breakaway goals against Arsenal in the past, where he's nicked it off Bellerin's foot and he's literally ran the half of the field and put it past Peter Cech in goal when he was there. What the hell does Salah have to do to be recognised as a world-class player if he isn't already? I'm saying he is, but there are still some out there that still doubt him, that are like, yeah, Salah's nothing, one season wonder. But it's the 5th season in a row now. He's scoring goals for fun. He is top tier, A1 footballing stature. What the hell does he need to do?
Well, Pete's pointing at it, but there's a summary of it. I mean, he's getting more and more recognition for what he's doing this season. I think that whole one season wonder thing, he hit the ground running with us and he scored 40 goals in all competitions at the time, and everyone was like, he's a one season wonder. The second season, he didn't score anywhere near as much, but you can see he's consistently been that player, but he's just on another level this season. He's just gone off the sort of scale in terms of his quality now. And I think people are starting to give him the respect he deserves, but obviously Ballon d'Or wise, he's still classed as 7th best in the world. And I know we had a shit season last year, but he was one of the players in the team who could actually hold his head up high and say he still had... You look at our last 10, 15 games, what he was doing for us and sort of dragging us to wins. And It's harsh that seventh is bullshit, to be honest, but the competition's bullshit. You mentioned Messi winning. I don't want to go on too much about him, but for me, the only reason he's won that this year is because he won the Copa America finally. That's the only reason he's won it. For club, over the last 12 months, has he been the best player in the world? Not anywhere near. In his career, is he the greatest player we've ever seen? I would say yes. But last 12 months, not a chance. So the awards are shambles, but I'll be happy when Salah wins it next year. I'm not going to lie. So
if it's not Salah, it's going to be Joel Matip. Or sorry, Lionel Matip. Sorry, I should say Lionel Matip. Yes. Did you see he had a bit of a flow in the second half? He received the ball high up the pitch, and he's like, giving someone the shoulder, and he's gone past him and given it out to Trent. I forget what minute it was, but I saw it happen. I was like, oh, there he is. He's back to true form there. And now, speaking of Mo Salah, Pete, we've had a whole heap of goals during the Pete.
This was nice.
Straight away, not happening. During the commentary, we had the legendary duo of Peter Drury and Jim
Beglin.
Thank you very much. I forgot his name for a second there, and Jim Beglin. And I think it was Drury who was rattling off United 5-0. Everton 4-0, such and such 5-0, blah blah 4-1, etc. etc. We're scoring goals for fun, and another record broken. I think we've scored the most amount of goals, or 2 or 3 plus goals consistently.
2 plus,
yeah. And that last time that happened was in the 70s with Southampton. Steve, is that correct?
Sunderland,
sorry.
Sunderland who held the old record back in the 70s, I think it was, yeah. And they did. So we've just done it 18 in a row, haven't we? And they did 17. I think
18 or 19, I think. Yeah.
Around those figures.
In the comments, can you help us out maybe?
I'm going to check the stats right now, so bear with me.
So basically, the last time we didn't score 2 in a game was the Chelsea game at home, where we drew 1-1 when we were playing against 10 men for like 55 minutes, where we looked absolutely clueless in front of goal. And then since then, we've just been smashing goals in left, right and centre.
Well, let me read it out to you. Our results so far this season. I'm not going to read the names of the teams to take up too much time, but 3-0, 2-0, 1-1, 3-0, 3-0, 3-3, 2-2, 5-0, 5-0, 2-2, 3-2, lost there, 4-0, 4-0, 4-1. So that's a lot of goals coming through, and we're winning games, and our players are scoring goals, but it's the players who are going to be a little bit missed, shall we say, come January, especially in Mo Salah when the Africa Cup of Nations comes along. But I don't really dwell on that. We still got a lot of football to play till then. We still got, a game every 3 or 4 days this month, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Wolves coming up next, then Pete's newfound love for Aston Villa, and then we're at home to Newcastle, away to Spurs. That'll be an interesting one. Boxing Day at home to Leeds, Leicester away, and then Chelsea on the 2nd of January. So
my birthday.
All winnable games. But I want to say, in speaking of the records being broken, are we going to miss Salah, or do we have what it takes to have played? I know it's early, but just because we waxed lyrically about Salah, are we going to miss what he does on the pitch now in these games come January when he goes, Pete?
Yeah, but is it 2 or 8 games? What are they reporting?
This is the thing. One minute you read it, he's only going to miss 2 games. Then the next minute, he disappears on Boxing Day. He's going to be missing for 6 to 8 games. It's like, who even knows?
Because you know what? If it's 2 games, I know this is sound dumb, but I'll say we can manage. We can manage for 2 games, because Firmino will be back. So Firmino, Jota, Origi. Firmino, Jota, Minamino. Like, you can you'll cop it, I guess, because I think it's Brighton and Burnley the 2 games. So you look at them and you go, look, fuck, I mean, it's not ideal because Salah and Mane have literally 80% of our goals. But for 2 games, you cop it. But for the 8 that was reported, a few weeks ago, then not to be that person, where they hammer me for this, but it's like season's over. To not have them 2 for 8 games.
But hang on a second. How does this work now? How is it 2 games or 8 games? Like, how does that work? Did they only play like group stages and they come back?
No,
I don't know.
It's just confusing. Different press, different reporters are saying different things. None of it makes any sense. Just scrap it. Just sack it off.
I don't understand.
But then we can't say that because Klopp got in trouble the other day for apparently upsetting the nation.
About that little tournament.
Yeah, that little tournament, yeah.
I just don't get it, man. I don't understand how they say, yeah, they'll only be missing for 2 games, but we know a tournament like that goes for at least 3 or 4 weeks, or 2 weeks if you really condense it down, depending on the amount of teams there. But realistically, 3 or 4 weeks and travel and all that sort of stuff, I don't see. I just don't understand how this 2-game thing works. I mean, if anyone in the chat knows, please do tell us. I no idea how this damn thing works. It's confusing as shit to me, and I don't want to think about it too much because it makes my brain hurt. So that's done and dusted. But yeah, who is going to be bagging the goals off that right wing when he's
I'll tell you who's not.
Origi?
Or Van Dijk taking any free kicks.
Why did Van Dijk take the free kick?
He just basically took the ball off Trent, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't understand why he decided to give that a crack. I thought for sure he took the ball off Trent, and I thought, mate, you're messing about. Just put the ball on and have a dig. But Virgil van Dijk on free kicks, he's no Daniel Agger.
To be honest, probably rewind about 18 months to 24 months ago, and I was actually calling for Van Dijk to have some of the free kicks because it was when we were going through the phase of bloody Salah taking our free kicks, and he was as good at free kicks as Robbo is at corners. And I was calling for Van Dijk to have free kicks because he used to take a fair few amount when he was at Celtic up in Scotland.
Yeah.
And he actually had some success with them, and he was half decent. But this one against Everton was just this. You know what? I'm going to take the ball off Trent. I'm going to just smash it into the wall.
Yeah, but I think that the occasion, obviously, because you straight away everybody said, "Oh my God, can you imagine if he scores past Pickford?" And and he was thinking the exact same thing. So I think the occasion itself was not appropriate for it. I think that showed a little bit of how the emotion got the better of him for that kind of game. I think that Van Dijk, I'd love to see Van Dijk on free kicks. I hope he takes more free kicks than this one. I hope this isn't just like where Klopp goes, where it's like a Tsimikas Robbo thing, like you're done now forever. But I would love to see him take more free kicks. I just didn't think that was the right moment, considering everybody knew why you were taking the free kick. That's all.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, would Van Dijk be just like a long bomb hitter like Roberto Carlos, or like or it'd be like a finesse free kick taker?
He's finesse.
He whips him in the top corner.
I don't know. I've got to see that. I have to see that really happening. Yeah, he definitely wanted a goal reclaimer. 100% he wanted a goal. Pete mentioned it in our chat, actually. Virgil there just wanting to put one past Everton after they ruined his season last year, which it's a fair shout. And hang on a second. That reminds me. First half, when he's getting the ball, the whole Everton fans are booing him. Why the fuck are you booing him? You absolute mongoloids. Like, the guy got his knees taken out by your goalkeeper in a very bad challenge, which he should have been sent off in hindsight, in retrospect, and you're booing him. If he collected your goalkeeper, I could understand that, but he did not. This is the twisted mentality of like Everton fans. It's like, bro, you in the wrong here. Why are you booing me? I'm right. You know, it's that meme. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
What's that? Actually, I'll think of the movie that actually, Steve, you take over. There's a movie that I'll relate that to.
I have no idea where you're going with this, but Everton fans were dicks. I noticed that early on when they were booing Van Dijk, and it's like you say, he didn't do anything wrong in that scenario last season. So why are they booing him? Doesn't make any sense. There we go. Yeah. Over to you.
You know the movie The Hills Have Eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Everton fans.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Because I know that the family are intertwined with one another, shall we say. We'll just say that. Here we go. JJ36. This is regarding the AFCON. If their national teams call them up in early, they miss 6 to 8 games. If they allow them to stay, it will be 2 games they miss. So that's where it comes in. So,
but how can they only, like you say, Nick? How can you only miss 2 games when it's a full tournament? How long is the tournament?
Hey, we made it to the final. Do you want to come over? Yeah, I'll play the final. Yeah. Salah wins the winning goal and he becomes like national hero of Egypt or something. It's like, bro, I was just here to like. I don't know how that makes sense. I don't know how that makes sense at all. I just don't get it. Moving on, though. Moving on with the discussion. We had some subs in this game. Milner coming back for Thiago. Thiago seems to be doing well up to about 60, 70 minutes. Peter, and we just saw how good he is on the ball. He looks comfortable. He looks like he knows what his job is, and he makes everything sort of like calm again in a way. It just seems like a fit Thiago is a good Thiago, as obvious as that
I
sounds.
said this in the last show, man. I don't care if he plays 67 minutes every game because the record still stands, by the way, with Thiago and Fabinho side by side, still 0 losses. And there's fucking something behind that because they complement each other so well. And I think that if he can play 70 minutes every match at his level, I don't think we need the last 20, 30 minutes of a match. Like as we saw today, he's just that player where he controls everything. And look, he gets caught out sometimes because it's almost like he's so arrogant that how good he knows he is compared to everybody else. He like wants time on that ball and he gets caught out a couple of times. This is probably the best way I can try and describe it. But you see the way he's so press resistant. And the way, I remember one of the moments during the match in the first half, he was getting swarmed by 3 Everton players, just literally from all different angles. And the ball gets pumped into him and just with one touch beats the 3-player press. It's just like, that's the difference between him and everybody else. He's just that good. And like I said, it's that level of IQ and the understanding of the football match that makes him so important to our side, because we are a weird team if you don't understand what we try to do with the ball and without the ball. So you really got to have like that. It's good to have someone in that with that kind of intellect to make sure that everything else kind of stays in sync.
Steve, I want to go to this one, what Pete just said there. When Thiago sort of like is on the ball, it's like he helps us like rest and recover in a way how like the City players do under Pep. Like they'll get the ball, they'll pass it around, they'll just keep tempo. They don't do anything rash, they'll just pass it around. Thiago seems to be that player. He'll get the ball, he'll look past it, pass back to him, look. So he's like trying to make things happen. Has he helped us, a Brazilian sauce, I like that. Has he helped us... let me rephrase that question. Last year, he said he was a bit of a problem because he didn't fit into this system. This season, however, has he helped us maybe be a bit more calm on the ball and sort of like take our time with things?
100%. I mean, there was a lot of abuse coming his way last year that even the top pundits were saying that he slowed us down too much. We're not playing... Last season was a freak season. I mean, he's a new player. He has to get used to our system. The rest of the players have to get used to him as a player. He's head and shoulders above most other midfielders in the world. He's class. And like Pete said, he can get taken off at 60 minutes, 65 minutes every game. We did the same against Southampton. Hendo and Thiago both got taken off around the 60, 65 minute, give him a rest, game's done. We've got another game in 3 days' time. Save him for that. But when we seem to be under the pump in midfield, you've got Fabinho, who's there, will mop up and win everything. Thiago tries to go and win a few things, and his tackling's not the best. I'll sort of acknowledge that, but in possession, the guy's class. I mean, he can literally not even move his body, and he can lose 3 or 4 players. He just feints it. It's gone.
Yeah.
He's class.
It's quality. That's the experience he possesses, where he knows what to do in a tight situation. Whereas with Wijnaldum, when he was there, he would actually shield the ball and do like a bit of a backheel turn or something and rip defenders. We've seen it time and time again, most notably against Barcelona. And that comment just there from Lucky says, midfielder Fabinho, Thiago and Naby is better than Sergio Busquets, Xavi and Iniesta. I like to say yes, but...
Yeah, but they are at being injured.
If that's an injured midfield, then maybe. Someone said it here. Reclaimer says here, this is the midfield Klopp never got to play much of last season because of injuries. Fabinho played centre-back much of last season. We didn't get to see him there. Henderson had to fill in. Naby, when he wasn't cutting grass or digging his foot into the ground, he was playing there. Chamberlain was hit and miss. That's all good. But it is a midfield that we did want to see. Arguably, you could probably say, Henderson, does he stay? Do you put someone else in there? But realistically, Henderson seems to be the go-to. And again, a great goal that he scored, first time hit, something Gerrard would have done back in his day. And we've seen it happen long before. But nice cutback from Robbo for him to score his goal. I know we got way past that. But it's just one of those things. The midfield is very important for Liverpool. A midfield is an engine. I don't think that's news to anyone there. But how effective is your engine, Pete? Like, have you seen anything other than what you've already explained in the last 2-3 weeks that we're doing differently that's making us perform better?
No, I'll answer that in a sec. I want to go back to what Steve said earlier about Thiago last season. If I don't know if you remember, but that last 10, 11 games where we went
He
on
was
a
brilliant
massive
in
winning
that running,
streak,
wasn't he?
yes, if it wasn't for him and a couple other players, Firmino actually picked up his form at that back end of the last season as well. It was him and a couple others that actually got us through and actually consistently had us ticking over, and was actually the main reasons why we ended up making the top four anyway. So that whole noise of this Thiago thing, I feel like people are bored at home or in their dungeon where they live, because it's like you could have said anything, and you go to Thiago and say that he's not good or doesn't suit. Like, come on, man, just stick to something else if that's the case. But what we're doing differently, Nick, it's what we've said for the past 3 weeks. It's actually because it's Thiago and Fabinho. Thiago isn't the one, like, for example, if he was to play Fabinho, Naby, and Hendo, both Naby and Hendo really want to get forward and join the attack. Same for Ox when he plays. And to be fair to him, he's been good the past few weeks. But because Thiago is not that guy that wants to do those kind of meters, again, because he's just knows how good he is and wants the ball at his feet, it actually creates that balance that we've been dying for, where we have someone who's deep, being Fabinho. We have Thiago, who's, I call it 50-50. So he's not next to Fabinho, but he's not up near where Henderson would be. So he's kind of in that in-between space. And Hendo is the one who kind of has that freedom to, as we saw during Everton, overlap Salah and create them overloads in the front third. But that's great. It's the balance we've been dying for in terms of midfield spacing, because before, poor Fabinho had to defend against 3 or 4 midfielders.
Yeah. Just quickly before we move on to the next point here, just from Captain Sol, Fab, Naby, and Thiago, do you think that gives Naby the ability to roam around and be the number 8 that he's supposed to be?
Steve, do you want to take this one?
It would be nice to see it work if Naby hadn't broke his foot on a blade of grass or on a bit of cotton wool or a bandage or something like that. But look, jury's still out on Naby for me. And I mean, we're talking about this, and I think that's a bit of discredit to Hendo. And I know, again, similar to Robbo, he hasn't had the best of the starts to this season. I don't think Hendo has. But last couple of games, I think we've started to see more of what Henderson can do for us. I thought he was exceptional this morning. Not just his goal, his overall play, joining in the attack. He was up and down that right-hand side, and I think he was class. But obviously, we're going to need to rotate the midfield a bit. We've got games coming thick and fast. And I'd like to see this Fab, Naby, and Thiago midfield, but can you guarantee all 3 of those players are going to be fit for a consistent amount of games? Because they're the 3 that struggle.
Well, that's the question. Consistency for games, yeah.
Well, you know what? I think it'd be great to see them. But at the moment, if you look at it form-wise, I think Henderson and Ox are in front of him. Naby Keita, that is. And because Ox, you can't say anything negative about him these past few, performances. He's been unreal because he's had that kind of freedom, because Thiago and Fabinho are more comfortable sitting a bit deeper. I would love to see, to be honest with you, I'd love to see Fabinho, Thiago, and Curtis Jones. And I would love to see Curtis Jones as that 10 free rolling and moving in that spaces where he can go wherever he wants and be that kind of danger man. But so if you ask me, yeah, okay, that Naby Keita one could be interesting, because do we finally get to see what Keita looks like with the chains off him? But I think the Hendo, Ox and Jones at the moment are in front. That's just for me. Yeah.
I want to ask, obviously you need the right strikers up front to be scoring your goals, and let's just sing the praises of Diogo Jota at the moment. The guy's got, 10 goals in 15 games or something like that. He scored his 50th goal in the Premier League this morning. Nice goal. He had 2 shots, one off target, one obviously being the goal. Since he's come back from his injury, he's been very, very good. Even though he's missed a couple of chances, still he's got himself goals, got himself in good positions. He's hustling, and I noticed for his goal, he was actually deep in a pseudo Firmino role, if I'm not mistaken. He was like outside the penalty box, signaling to Robbo or whoever was on that wing, Mane, whoever, making the runs in, sort of like playing. I'm not saying he's doing that, but he just found himself in that space because he had space to run into. Pete, is that something that maybe they've worked on in training, or is that just Diogo Jota thinking like, I'm not really getting into this game, I need to get into the game? We've seen players drop deep just so they can get on the ball.
I think there were the spaces there to drop in. I think that's why he did it, because we've seen him against Man United where he didn't drop into. It was against Man United when he played as a left winger. he's really, really good at finding the right gaps. And I think that's what makes him so impressive. Like, he knows he can stay high and run off the shoulders and be that fox in the box, as we've described him earlier, where he just does nothing all game and pops up with a header. And everyone's like, oh, that's all he does, but he scores like jammy goals. It's like, well, what else do you want him to do? Who cares? He's scoring goals. Like, it's one of those things that, again, we look at it and go, why are you saying these things? And then you saw against Everton, he was actually very effective in dropping in and helping out. Like, even the way he took his goal, I know he wasn't dropping in at that moment, but that turn, and just to know that, because everyone knows when you go near post, lift it, because their keepers always drop down and try to cover their bottom post, so you got to lift it, and that's all you know. So he's proving to be such a fucking bargain. It's unbelievable what a player he is.
Bit ridiculous. This comment here from Lucky says, Jota gives me Suarez vibes. There was a moment he took the ball down his chest that Coleman handled it. Yeah, arguably, that could have been given as a free kick, but it wasn't. That's an interesting point there, dude.
I was just about to compare him to Suarez on his goal. That little turn through the legs and then the smash, it reminded me of Suarez so much.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Obviously, we're not saying he is a direct comparison, but man, if a player can do that, and we saw what a danger Suarez was for us for the years he was with us, if Jota can keep this form up, and you know what the best part is? He's only, 24, 25 years old? Come on, man. Come on, bro. Origi can learn something from you, surely, Pete.
Remember, it's this positive.
We're top Reds today. We are top Reds today. Diogo gets his goal, and speaking of, that might be a nice little segue, because our next match is away from home against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and it is going to be an interesting game. Diogo Jota returning back to the Molineux, however whatever it is, or just Molineux, and I think this will be the first time he's back with the home fans. So interesting to see what reception he gets, but I'd say he's starting. I wouldn't say Klopp's going to rotate this team. We're playing on Sunday morning or something?
It's early hours of Sunday for us.
For us, it's 2 a.m. Sunday morning. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so Saturday night,
1 a.m.
For you. Yeah, mate, whatever.
Me.
All right, lucky Mister. We don't believe in daylight savings up here in Brisbane. Sure, mate, no problems.
That's it.
But look, it's going to be one of those games. I think Wolves, what did they do? They draw. They lost their game. They drew against Burnley. They drew against Norwich. They beat West Ham. They were beaten by Palace. They beat Everton 2-1 as well. Yeah, another top result for Everton. So we're coming into this game on red hot form. And our last 6 meetings, we've won 5 of the 6 at least. I haven't lost, and it's going to be an interesting game. But we have no injuries to deal with at the moment, which is good. Whereas they still have some issues. I think Ruben Neves comes back from suspension, and if I'm not mistaken, I think what's his name? Bloody hell, Jimenez. He's back in form as well, so he'll be ready to go. Adama Traore, we haven't really heard much about in recent weeks. I don't know what his form has been like lately, but he's always a bit of a problem. And He-Chan, when he came into the squad, he started with a few goals. So going to be an interesting one here. But I mean, surely we expect ourselves to be winning this one. I don't see why we wouldn't. I really don't see a changed team here at all. I would say everyone's going to start again. Pete, is that what you were expecting against Wolves?
Konate.
I'd love to see it. What do you reckon, Steve? I'd love to see it again. Obviously, then you give everybody their rest against AC Milan, right?
So I think Konate might come back in. I think Klopp's always going to be a bit wary of giving Matip too many games in success. So I think out of anyone, I think that's the most likely change. I don't see any other changes. But on Wolves, they've played some decent football this year. If you've watched them play.
Yeah, they're very impressive.
They create a lot of chances. They're not converting most of them, but they'll cause us problems. I think it's going to be a tough game, but we'll have enough to beat them. You mentioned Adama Traore there, that we haven't heard much about him. I woke up this morning to rumours on Twitter circling again that apparently it's a done deal that he's coming to us.
Really? What?
I'll take that, by the way, because apparently it's only rumored 25 mil or something like that. Is that true?
Apparently,
You know, I'd take him for 25 mil. I don't care what people. He's ineffective in the final third. Blah blah blah.
Run.
As
He
long
can
as
be
he
Salah's
gets,
replacement.
as long as he gets in behind and continuously puts teams in the back foot, the rest of our players will do it anyway. So, if that's the case for 25 mil, I call that a bargain. And knowing that what Klopp, Pep Linders, and the rest of the staff can do with players and how they can improve players tenfold, you can only imagine what we can do with Adama Traore, who's got so much room for improvement.
yep, 100%.
It's going to be interesting. I'm just reading here from the mirror.co.uk as much as you read into the Mirror, but I'm just going to put it out there. From 19th of November, apparently Barcelona were eyeing Adama Traore, and Man United were told to hijack our deal, which apparently we had for him. So I don't know what the actual situation is there. Interesting to say
Barcelona,
the
who've
least.
got no money.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. But if you had the pick of Bellingham or Traore, who would you take?
Yeah, we're not spending 120 mil though in January. That's the thing. Like, we're not doing that. So obviously
true.
it's Jude Bellingham, but for 25 mil to get a Adama Traore,
Yeah.
fucking oath. It's
I'll-
simple as that.
I'd give that a crack. Why not? Yeah, he can be sloppy. He can be a little bit wasteful, but I'm sure under the right tutelage and under a decent disciplined structure of what his role is, I don't see why he couldn't do what Salah does.
In our system,
Yeah.
counterattacks in our system.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. 100%. Yeah. Just
Gone.
right. Everyone else defending Adama, you sit on that halfway line, and when that ball's played over the top, you just start running, lad. Just go for it. And he's a bulldog as well, and he oils himself up like he's ready to get into the ring against Hulk Hogan. So I'm all for that, man. I'm
And
definitely.
he doesn't
all
work
for
out
it.
in the gym.
Apparently not. No. not
I'll
at
tell you what
all.
I'll do. If we sign him in January, just for fun, as we know, we do some stupid things on this show.
Well, you're going to grease yourself up and appear on the show as the Adama Traore.
Yeah, I am. If we sign him in January,
Are you gonna come in a Liverpool jersey with the muscle man body underneath, and just have like the blonde tip dreadlocks, and just like get ready to rock and roll, man?
let's just say, 2BA, TBA.
TBA, TBC. Well, everything's TBC at the moment. But what isn't to be confirmed is that we are the best team in Merseyside, 150%. As Klopp would say, we had some good moments in this game. No one was injured, touch wood. There were some rash challenges. Everton were a bunch of divers to be expected, trying to get any which way. But I have to say, as it stands, we are looking pretty healthy at the moment. It's turning into a three-team race for the Premier League. Chelsea narrowly and nervously won their game this morning against a plucky Watford. Even Tuchel, after the game, said they were lucky to have got that win because Ziyech's shot was right at the goalkeeper and it bounced off his fists and into the back of the net, so that could have gone a different way. City back to their winning ways, onto their streak, and a lovely goal from Bernardo Silva, has to be said.
It was, but it was the Ruben Diaz's goal was quite lucky. I thought the goalkeeper should have done better. I mean, we had plenty of chances to score as well. We played well.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Villa. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. Thank you. Ollie Watkins, got yourself a goal back, huh?
So look, we did well. It was a good sort of performance, and we didn't shy away. We were brave the whole time, and it can only be more positive things to build on this kind of performance.
See, that's his claret and blue lens right there. Thanks for that, Pete. Appreciate that. But as it stands, Chelsea first on 33 points, Manchester City second on 32. We're on 31 points, I should say. And in fourth place, some 7 points behind, we have West Ham United on 24 points. Arsenal on 23, Wolves on 21. I'm surprised actually Wolves are up there, to be honest. I thought they'd be a bit lower in the
No, they've been
they've been good.
Season, man.
Even at the beginning of the season, they didn't win their first 3 games, but they were tearing teams apart and creating so many chances.
Yep. Well, that's danger to look out for there. And we've got Brighton, Leicester, and 9th and 10th, just a couple of small clubs, Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United. And then all the way down the bottom, Burnley 18th, Norwich 19th, Newcastle on bottom on 7 points, 20th. 4 draws and 2 losses in their last 6. That's horrendous. You fear for Newcastle, but we're not here to talk about Newcastle, talk about Liverpool. But interesting to keep an eye on tomorrow morning for us, Manchester United versus Arsenal. I just want to see who wins out of that game. Any which way, whoever loses, the opposition or whoever loses, that fan channel is going to be popping like no tomorrow. So I can't wait for the reactions once that happens. But gentlemen, any final thoughts on our 4-1 win against Everton?
Onwards and upwards, I say.
Steve?
I second that. Let's just keep the run going. Fuck it. I'm going to go back to it now. You read out all the results we've had. It pissed me off when you said it, the 3-2 loss to West Ham. And then you just read out who's where in the league, and West Ham are like, how many points behind the West Ham now behind us? About 7 or 8?
7.
When they beat us, they went above us in the league.
Yeah.
That result fucking still pisses me off now. That pisses me off more than the Brentford.
Not as much as the Brentford one now. For me, Brentford and Brighton are still...
The West Ham one for me was shocking.
All you needed to do was win one of those games and we'd be sitting first on 34 points. Put it that way.
Yeah. Are we going to do, what are we now? We've got another 3 weeks till Christmas. Can we be sat top at Christmas time and do it 4 seasons running? Because we've been top the last 3 years at Christmas.
Yeah, we fell apart last year because of that January-February horrendous show. But anything's possible in the Premier League, man. You never know. Chelsea might give. They might puff out if injuries persist. Man City, they look like they're not going anywhere. We look like we're doing our business. I honestly don't know who the hell to call in this season right now. It's going to be one of those, you know what? I'm not saying it is, but it might be one of those last day seasons. And exciting for a neutral. But man, if you're one of those teams that are battling for that trophy come the end of the season, fuck that, man. I couldn't bear the... it was like when we tried to win the league against City when we were playing against Brighton at home, if you remember.
They had Brighton and we had Wolves.
Wolves, sorry, yeah. It was like one of those ones.
Brighton took the lead, didn't they? And at one stage we were top of the league, and then
and then they ended up scoring second half.
We were all in, or some of us were in cheers bar, and we were celebrating the Brighton goal, and then
we were. Yep.
Within a couple of minutes, Man City went and equalised, and it was like, fuck.
Yeah, and that was it. Oh well, next year. And guess we're playing last day of the season at home.
Newcastle?
Wolves.
We've got Wolves. Have we?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
22nd of May, we've got Liverpool versus Wolves, last game of the season. So you never know what's going to happen in the league. But gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. And thank you to all the viewers who joined in. Thank you to all the comments flying in. Don't forget to drop a like. Subscribe if you haven't. We will have so much content on the podcast, the Red Sea podcast. We are the Red Sea Down Under, care of the Red Sea podcast. Follow us on social media and all those good places like at Red Sea Down Under and the main page, the Red Sea Pod. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It has been Everton 1, Liverpool 4. Onwards and upwards to Wolves we go. See us.
Tell the world we are Liverpool.